Everyone literally just ignores reality. And at this point, I love it. I understand that the people aren't to blame. Anyone who sits at home and twirls their fingers while thinking, oh, the common person on either side of the aisle, they're so stupid, they're so horrible, it's all their fault. Get a fucking load of yourself. You know what's so fascinating about the common person on both sides of the aisle? They listen to the people that they believe are the good people. It's as simple as that. Everyone is controlled by fear to one extent or another. And fear, of course, leads to stupid shit. Naturally, if you have people in charge of a society, it should be their job to alleviate fear. It should be their job to create a society in which fear cannot get the best of the people who may not have the time or have had the resources or advantages to be intelligent enough, to be strong enough, and also just the nature of fighting fear off, the whole nature of not allowing it to get the better of you, is essentially the nature of going, I'm going to leap off of a building and believe I'm not going to die. It is a very Assassin's Creed leap of faith type of thing, which is kind of how I kept going at it. You know, it's just like, all right, this is cool. This is what I want to do. But do you know how difficult that is? It's like just the nature of bungee jumping is difficult for some people. And that's why it is good to have entertainment venues to actually safely challenge fear. That's a wonderful thing to do, but it's also difficult. So if we are going to have elected officials, then it should be their job not to divide us, not to say, oh, this side is right, that side is wrong, but to instead look at everyone's needs, everyone's wants, and what's bothering people, what's helping people. It's necessary to just sit down and really essentially get to know the people that you're representing. It's necessary to have open forums and community centers where we can share discussions and do it in a diplomatic way. I think passion should come with debate, should come with discussions. I think we should be able to yell fuck you at each other. I mean, granted, it's not, necessarily the most beneficial form of communication, but again, so long as we're not cutting each other's heads off, it is good to blow steam off once in a while. So having a bit of expressive language is appropriate. And it's also appropriate if you're going to act like the common person, the cog in the wheel, the people who actually make everything possible. Because it's so funny. If you didn't have the rest of the world to boss around, what the fuck would you be doing, I mean, really, clearly they need us more than we need them because, as their track record has proven, those in power are not just stupid, they're not just failing at their jobs, and they're not just greedy. Because if they were greedy, they would want, again, so let's say you're the United States and you're greedy. Then you're going to want to make sure that you have the most prosperous and thriving society to one, entice others to want to come and be a part of that society, because obviously if you make a prosperous and thriving society, you can take care of your citizens, and then you'll make a bigger society and more people want to be there, and then others will model themselves after you. I mean, that's just the way that the system was meant to work. But why is it that every single society on this planet, rather, outside of maybe Sweden and Japan, is like totally unfunctional? And the people who, again, do all the work don't just get, shitty rewards. They're not rewarded at all for their services, we are still treated like slaves. We have very little freedom. I mean, even if you actually have one of those great high paying jobs, even if you went to college for all those years, you're still a fucking slave. That's really the interesting thing. It's like even these celebrities, it's like, yeah, they're clearly, a lot of them with their substance abuse issues and their mental health issues, clearly these are very happy people. But it's also part and parcel when we understand very well that there is an evil force that is controlling the world, that fear is a tool, and it's a tool being utilized by a very nefarious group of people. Because, as we have just pointed out, our society, if it was meant to be greedy, would create one in which the people are rewarded decently for their work, and where we are not struggling to survive, nor are we at war with one another. Because then we would be free to make advances in all sorts of fields, because we wouldn't be wasting our time on bullshit fucking distractions. When we have the government and other sources, servicemen and women, whistleblowers, telling us essentially that the first season of the X-Files is a true fucking story, and that we have crash retrieval programs, when there is a little known, little seen, hidden documentary produced by Disney supposedly to promote their ride in the 90s at the time, which was called Extraterrestrial Encounter. It was a ride that was originally meant to be themed after Alien. Now, I'm sure my Disney fans out there know what I'm talking about, but just so people who are not quite familiar with Disney are aware, this was an attraction that simulated an encounter with an alien, and it's actually a very gruesome one by Disney standards, because there is a sequence in which a worker above you is supposed to be mauled by this alien. Again, it was supposed to be themed after the actual Alien films, but that was toned down. In any case, this alien kills this worker above you, and everyone gets warm water sprayed on them to simulate blood. Now, the ride is enclosed in complete darkness. So it's important to actually point this out because it is so out of character for Disney, and it is something that Michael Eisner heavily pushed. Michael Eisner was the CEO of Disney, who brought it back after it faced a lot of difficulties during the 1980s, and while created a lot of great classic rides such as Splash Mountain, there was always something that was just as good as evil about that man. And so, in any case, getting back to the documentary that Disney produced. Normally, when a ride premieres, it is natural and normal for Disney to create promotional materials. And I would like to remind everyone that at the time, when people were told that the X-Files was based on actual government files, testimony, and the like, that was seen as a publicity stunt. It was seen as, oh, this isn't real. This is just them trying to promote their show. Well, it's so fascinating now that we have whistleblowers, as I said, government officials, servicemen and women, confirming that the first season and more of the X-Files is a true story. And yet, if this was not real, you would have so much comedy about this. You would have so much pop culture discussion about this. We would be seeing conventions around these ideas right now. And yet, that's why we can't have those things, because what you're actually going to discover, and it does again link back to this documentary Disney produced, is that they are trying to isolate us. They're trying to make us feel alone. So anything that could actually bring us together and spur on, even if we were afraid, let's say, of an alien invasion, there would be some of us who'd be like, yeah, this is scary, but also, come on, we play games about this. There's a part of us that wants this. Let's stay on the positive side here. I mean, come on, let's go on for the ride. All right, so back to this documentary. It's natural and normal to produce promotional materials. However, this is not just promotional material, because, as a matter of fact, it was only shown in 5 cities across the states. All right, and it was shown at midnight. So, what the fuck? How are you promoting anything? Now, it was said that it was pulled after being shown, and you're about to learn why. See, The documentary only has 5 minutes detailing this new attraction. And while it is hosted by the lead actor from the old SWAT TV series in Tomorrowland, and while it's meant originally to look like it's promoting New Tomorrowland because they were doing renovations to Tomorrowland at the time, the rest of the documentary is all about actual UFO encounters and even talking to abductees, all right? And here's the thing. When we watch Ancient Aliens, when we watch a lot of these new documentaries regarding these topics, even when they have footage and shit, even with the stuff that's going on now, they're never like, yeah, UFOs, aliens, they're real. And it's a government cover up. That's the entire premise of this supposed promotional documentary, supposed mockumentary. However, most of what is actually talked about in the documentary has now, 30 years later, finally been validified. What? Excuse me? And so what were the stories surrounding this documentary? What can we find online about it? Well, there were people, parents who evidently were very upset about it because they were concerned that it would, affect the impressionable minds of children. Because it's also interesting that the documentary starts off with this scene in which Michael Eisner is talking about the fact that aliens are far more likely to be real than not, and that there are government facilities where these craft and aliens are located. And yeah, it ends with him announcing the documentary and then saying, and perhaps I'm going to go get a look. And then all of these armed guards go like, you're not getting in here, buddy. And he's like, oh, evidently not. And it's like at that moment where I'm like, oh, I like you, Eisner, but also, ooh, we'll get to that shit. Well, I don't know. Any case, it is funny. It is funny. And it's like, yeah, this documentary. So anyway, being one of the few that actually does talk about aliens and UFOs as if it's just a given fact that they're real, that's pretty uncommon. And especially for a company like Disney to have produced something like this. You can find it online rather easily. Just look up Disney UFO documentary on Google. Don't look it up on YouTube. YouTube likes to bury shit like this with its algorithm, including videos like these that you're watching. Now, there's also something very interesting that was said in the documentary that 5 years from then, this was filmed in 1995, by the way, they said in 5 years' time, you're far more likely to have an encounter with an alien than you are to win the lottery. Now, I've always been of the mind, since I've started this rabbit hole-esque journey that's led to self-discovery, self-improvement, a battle of good versus evil, all kinds of nerdy awesomeness that are, it's cringy, but it's meant to be. It has to be cringy because there has to be something silently discouraging us from pursuing these things that are at our core what we believed in as children. Like, this is the shit that, even as teenagers, man, if we had enough proof, like, I cannot imagine all of this information dropping during the Xbox 360, PS3 heydays. I cannot imagine being back in 2008, having all of this information. But again, with algorithms burying videos, with 4chan being essentially populated by bots who are there to do nothing but bully people who ask the right questions or wrong questions, depending on how you look at that. I mean, in my previous video, have video footage, evidence showing that I had nothing but bullying no matter what I was talking about. And here's the thing, folks. That's just not common on the internet. There's always going to be an equal response. There always was. Yes, there might have been more bullies than cool people. But the fact that you used to be able to have a conversation is what I'm getting at. And that's what's been removed. Everything is just drenched in negativity these days. It is nearly impossible to actually go online and suggest, hey, if aliens aren't real, like, what's going on with all this stuff that's going on in the news? Because if they're not real, then this is clearly just a psyop designed to fuck with our minds. And with all of these other political and like COVID and just all of that type of bullshit that's been going on. I mean, yeah, we need to be on our toes, obviously. But I just have to fucking know and prove, and more for myself, like, and this, though, I hope this helps anybody who's been in this situation. Like, you're not crazy. Don't question your reality. That's how they get us. They want us to think that, some things were like fever dreams. Guess what? We think certain movies were fever dreams, and then we later discover, oh my god, that movie was real. And yet that happens with like really important shit that happens with us. Experiences where we like knew that we, for example, were gonna die. And yet because we listened or were guided by some force, we survived. And for some who really after that were like, all right, I trust you. Let's do this. You discovered that, holy shit, the more I give myself to this, everything's better. And it's like, yeah, the one thing we're all searching for. We all want to feel better. That's why people are in therapy. That's why they drink. That's why everything negative. And we search for everything. Because we all just want to feel good, yeah? And yeah, here's the best part about this shit for me. I've had to go through uncomfortable bullshit and suffering to feel good. But I realized slowly during the process that it wasn't the good forces that wanted me to suffer. What they were doing was being the cheerleaders going, hey, we hate this. There's no way around this. Like, evil is more powerful than us right now because can you not tell? Like, if everyone's a battery, if we're all radiating energy, and most people are choosing negativity, Ghostbusters 2 style, by the way, Ghostbusters 2 showed that because of everyone's negative energy, everyone being kind of dicks. And, not comical dicks, but just true, like, hateful seething. It's like, okay, you don't like Star Wars, all right? Leave it alone. Why are you being so destructive? And just like, I understand being destructive about the forces that are oppressing us. I understand sitting here going, hey, I kind of agree with people on the right. I kind of agree with people on the left. And I do not like that it seems that the people in the past who tried to actually tell us to get along, or not just tell us to get along, rather, but tried to be the leaders and the proper role models that we deserve and that we so desperately need, we're all shot in the fucking head. So Lincoln, Lenin, JFK, RFK, MLK, Malcolm X. Malcolm X is a really important one, I believe. I believe he's the most important one. And I'm not trying to say that for any kind of street cred, yo. I'm just trying to point out that I think where all of these other people kind of always came from, I don't want to say sainthood-esque, but they always sort of were believing in that, we are one shit. But Malcolm X went through a lot of interesting evolutions as a human being. And, originally he didn't really want help from white people. He didn't really like them. But then he later learned, that we're all kind of in this together. And that's just the truth of his story. Somebody's probably going to try to say some shit about a white person saying that, but I mean, it just is the thing. And I don't take offense at him not liking white people. I totally get it. It's like what's going on now. I mean, that's what was in the Disney UFO documentary that all these abductees were talking about, that they were just made to feel like losers, like crazy people, totally isolated and alone. And being 1995, that was before really modern public broad access to the internet where you could actually find other people. And that's why I'm telling you that 4chan is a total fucking psyop, people. When you go to a forum, a place that's supposed to be about paranormal shit, and you're being dogpiled for basically only trying to go, hey, I believe in manifestation, so I want to manifest the death of evil. I want to oppose evil and evildoers, and I want to be the monster under their bed because I'm tired of seeing people suffer like me. It's like when the doctor said, not on my watch, like, no more. I mean, when you take this pain, you hold it tight, and the only thing I can think about this pain is, yes, it's making me stronger, but I don't want to just be personally stronger. I don't want to just be able to go out and whatever. Maybe if I did go out in this world, in the physical realm right now, if I wasn't trying to do anything meaningful, I could probably have a kick-ass existence because I have confidence now that I never have, and I kind of know how shit works. And I can change my appearance and I can make myself look a lot better than this, but I don't care right now. Because what I care is that I truly believe there's an evil, overwhelming force that's controlling the planet, whether it's extraterrestrial, alien, demonic, spiritual, I don't give a shit. I know it's real, and I know that in this supernatural, paranormal plane of, I mean, I don't even know what exactly it is, but when you're interacting with feelings, there's something there. When something's trying to discourage you from just feeling a certain way, you can begin to realize that the true battleground is, all right, You know, I can't even make a lot of progress in the physical realm. I can't get this information out there. I can't have a conversation started. I try to go to 4chan where this is a paranormal board. We should be talking about these things. And it's only people who are trying to suggest, take your pills, or, hey man, I did this stuff too, but you just gotta lay off the weed. And it's like, why is the only thing going on here is discouragement? No matter how it's formed, even if they're acting nice and helpful and kind and sweet, all they're telling you to do is give up on what you're searching for. You're out there looking for, like, knowing that we deserve more in life, that there's more to life, and maybe it's not just about other people. Maybe it's like, no, this journey is about me too. I'm not giving this shit up because I know I almost died. I'm diabetic. My diabetes was fucked, all right? I was so out of energy. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk. I could barely do anything. All it was that in my head, I believed that smoking weed and watching, like, videos that were keeping me in the loop, making me think, all right, I'm the chosen one, I'm the hero, I'm facing this evil. Anything that was like pumping me up in that motivational, inspiring kind of way, like that's all I focused on. And I just kept focusing on it. And sometimes it was playing video games to do it. Sometimes it was watching a movie. Sometimes it was listening to music. But it was just whatever the fuck I could do. And I always had great control of my diabetes. And I have hospital records from going to multiple hospitals, emergency room trip after emergency room trip, all right? And they could not fucking help me. They wouldn't listen to me. Because the only thing that could have been suggested is your anxiety is so fucked right now that you're not going to be able to get a handle on this. So we need to keep you in here. We need to manage your anxiety. We need to get your blood sugar in order. And we need to find a dosage that you feel comfortable with so that you can really let go and be able to not have to continually test your blood sugar and just feel like you're going to die at any minute. Like, that's not good. We need to help you with that. Instead of that being what was done, every single doctor looked at me like I wasn't taking my insulin properly, like this was all my fucking fault. All they were trying to do was blame me. The same shit that I was getting on fucking 4chan. What the fuck? Because yes, I have video footage to prove that it is very odd that no matter what I said or did, that all I got on 4chan was discouragement. There wasn't a single person going, look at all these people attacking you, bro. I go through the same thing. And there were even people trying to act like I was being a dick, and that's why people weren't talking to me. But the thing was, being a dick would be this. If somebody came in, hey, I'm a chosen one too. You're a god, I'm a god. Let's fuck these people up together. And I'd be like, no, 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 it's just me. That's never what I was saying. Like, I was always like, we are all the chosen ones. We're all gods, and you're all trying to keep us down. And there wasn't a single person down with it. I'm like, no, I know my worth. But it's more than that. Like, yes, I can look at that shit on 4chan and try to tell myself logically, well, it seems very much like you're being isolated with bots or with agents who are just there to try to attack you. They're just there to discourage you, no matter what. There's nobody, like, in your boat. There's nobody trying to even just have an actual conversation about this without trying to lead you away from where you're going. But then when you have all of those doctors who refuse to just be like, hey, clearly you're having bad anxiety. Clearly you just need help. But to never get that. To literally sit there and just say, hey, I've always been in control of my blood sugar. I don't know what's going on. No matter what I do, like, I can eat the same amount of carbs, do the same amount of physical activity. And at a time before I was really like almost, I was able to do that. And I was applying the scientific method because I wanted to learn what was going on with me. Because I was so used to being in control of my blood sugar. The doctors hated that I was telling them no. Like, I tried to map out what this dosage was doing, and I realized that it was completely erratic. That I could take the same dosage, eat the same carbs. You know, we're all stuck in that COVID pandemic loop. I made the best of it, okay? And yet, instead of acting like, okay, well, maybe it's anxiety playing a part. Because I even Googled later on, and it told me that anxiety and adrenaline levels will increase your blood sugar. And when I started talking about that, they're just like, no. And I'm like, actually, that's a lie. Adrenaline does increase your blood sugar. It's what it naturally does. So having all these lies, and you know what? Even if it's not scientifically accurate, I don't care anymore. Because I tried to follow all of the scientifically accurate shit that I had followed for all my life, and it failed me. And I was going to die. The doctors, and by the way, Every single time I wasn't getting the treatment that I needed and I felt like they were making me worse, I told them I'm leaving. And they fucking always tried to force me to stay. They always told me if I left, I was going to die. But I left anyway. And fuckers, I'm still here over a year later. I am the proof of miracles. Do I know people's names and faces? Can I guess how many hands you're holding behind your back? No, but I know other shit, all right? And that's not how it works, all right? I'm not the one who's in charge of this. I'm a Power Ranger. I work and report to Zordon. That's how this shit works. The best of us, the most heroic of us are going to realize, yeah, I'm choosing to do these things, which is what enables the powers that be to work through me. Like, we're doing this together. We're a team. They're the ones who ultimately have more power than I do at their disposal. But the only way I get access to that power is by making the choice to work together with them. We have common goals. That's how it works. And what is the common goal? I want to feel good. They want to feel good. I don't like the oppression. They don't like the oppression. We want freedom and liberty for all. Period. Justice is what we seek. It's like when you're sitting there and you realize something truly appreciates and values everything that you are, and they're throwing you a lifeline. You're an asshole if you don't take it. If you realize that everything around you, like the whole fucking world's against you, there's something out there. There's a force that's working with you. And guess what? It's trying to connect us together. All of us who are on this journey who are like trying to fight this negativity or are discovering stuff, like I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade when I say I'm a chosen one, or even when I try to, imply certain things that might make it seem like I'm trying to boast. I'm not trying to boast because other people would want to be the one out in the forefront for the accolade of it. But when you're in an actual fight, the one out in the forefront is just trying to lead the charge, not because they want to tell anybody what to do, because that's not what this is about. It's not about being the one who wants to bark orders at his team. It's about the one who believes in his team and wants to be the one who's going to take the brunt of it, but also is going to charge out forward so that the rest of the team is even more inspired. But it's also, realizing that you're not doing that to sacrifice yourself, because when you go out and you're on the battlefield and you're fighting, that people are going to be inspired by that and they're going to come and fight alongside you. That's what it's about. It's not about controlling people. It's about inspiring them. There are already people who want to fight this fight. And then it's also about, for the people who don't want to fight the fight, the part that I have focused on, that I've known, if I'm not, that's what I kept telling myself, if I'm not crazy, then I'm just continually drawing the attention of evil. Well, what does that mean? If I'm causing the spiritual chaos that I think I am, if I'm drawing the actual attention that it seems like I am, then I do believe that that's taking the weight off of a lot of other people's backs. And so I think if you want to be a leader, or if you're trying to say that you're some kind of special King Arthur type person, it's not about saying, I want to rule over you. It's about saying that I want to protect you. We're all equal in this, but the thing is, it's I'm the one who's going to push you out of the way to go ahead of you because I want to protect you. It's oh, he wants to get in there for the glory. No, I just couldn't stand back or couldn't watch somebody go ahead of me and see somebody that I cherish, because if anybody's going to charge ahead of me, then I'm going to cherish that person. Anybody who's willing to pick up a sword and fight this evil, hello. Family, Ohana, what's up? That's just natural. That's just beautiful. So why wouldn't I want... It's and at the end of the day, it should be like that scene from Lego Movie 2, where these characters who just kept constantly trying to get ahead of each other, because it's no, I'm saving you. No, I'm saving you. No, I'm saving you. If we're all the chosen ones, if we're all gods, that's what it should be. And that's what we should all be feeling. We should all feel like we're the star of the show, because we all are the star of the show. We are all Batman. We all get to be our own unique version of Batman or Spider-Man or Iron Man, whatever character you choose, We all get to be that thing. And just because this person over here is that thing doesn't invalidate me. Because the only thing that would invalidate me is if he's trying to tell me I can't be this thing. But if we can both be this thing together, fuck yeah, right? It's only the asshole who wants to feel all special being the only one. Fuck you. If you want to be the special only one, then you better be doing some special shit. And I don't think it's miracles. I think the only special shit better be, well, if you believe that there are evil forces out there hurting people, if you believe it's some kind of supernatural thing, then isn't, like, how can anyone judge you for then saying, well, I choose to attack this shit every day. I choose to actually just go out and wave my dick at evil because I want its attention, because I know it might target some kid, some teenager, somebody who just is at their lowest point and they're not going to have it in them to fight this thing off. And I'd much rather go, hey, T-Rex, this is Jurassic Park. You leave those kids alone. You come after me. And then, of course, as I'm running, I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing? Kids, you make this shit worthwhile. You drive that car the fuck out of here. Shit. All right, everyone. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this shit. This isn't a LARP. You're welcome to think it is. But, you know, here's the one thing I like to just point out to you. If you truly believed in these things, would you not be the asshole for standing back and doing nothing? Even if I sit here believing that, like, oh, they've got me trapped and isolated. This video is not going to be seen by anybody until the future. Well, the future will be cool because we can all be sitting around watching this going, hey, I'm glad. Like, just me telling myself, I'd be like, hey, aren't we glad we made this video? Don't we want to remember today and, like, watching that Kung Fu Panda clip where he became the Dragon Warrior and it was all of his family giving him that strength and he could use it in the spirit realm to kick the shit out of that evildoer? Don't we want to remember that? Don't we want to remember how we felt when we were like, yeah, I believe that I am getting the energy from my Ohana. I believe that we are finally not just winning, but it's like, yeah, that cyber attack. When it happened, I'm like, I was doing some manifestation shit on 4chan. I'm pretty sure those are my people. I'm pretty sure that we are attacking the evil infrastructures of this country. And yeah, it's going to be a little sketchy here because, you know, you got to break some eggs to make an omelet. But just stay at home. Just keep on keeping on. Like, we're not targeting anybody. This isn't about violence. This is just about fucking up their shit, causing chaos where we can, so that hopefully we can totally expose all of their bullshit and just end this shit, because they have some kind of spell, some kind of power, some kind of hold over people, because it just doesn't make sense that they're ignoring just all of reality around us, man. Reality's finally awesome. We all finally have a chance to go, do you know what I was actually afraid of? Real fucking life. Like, I hate, oh my God, cancer. Oh my God, we can die at a certain age. Oh my God. Yeah, none of that might be real. We could all be immortal. There could be scientific advancements that, like, oh, you feel like you're trapped in the wrong body? What if you can just tap something to your head and change your gender at will? Just today, I want to be a man. Today, I want to be a girl. Because it's just a style, after all. I mean, you are who you are on the inside. The outside's just for fun. It's just, oh, I'm going to accessorize. I want to look the way I want to look because I'm vibing that way. And that's wonderful. It's great to be who you are. Nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong with people trying to tell you that you can't be who you are unless you jump through certain hoops. But, you know, we're not going to have to deal with any of that bullshit, though. We don't have to sit here being afraid of that stuff at the end of the day, because once we expose the fact that clearly the people in power know more, that something very nefarious, very sinister is going on, and it involves child trafficking, because why did my boy Ashton Kutcher come out and really target human traffickers? And then he makes a show with one of his best friends, Danny Masterson, and then in the midst of all that, just months after targeting human trafficking, they try to ruin his best friend's life and act like he's just this monstrous rapist. I'm just saying that that's a very strange thing. You don't even have to sit there trying to defend Danny Masterson. You just have to sit there looking at that like, isn't it odd that during the Me Too movement and all of this shit, nobody was really talking about children being hurt outside of Elijah Wood and Corey Feldman. And even then, you know, Barbara Walters was trying to tell Corey Feldman, like, you're hurting an entire industry. I think protecting kids is more important than protecting the industry, and I'm pretty sure that if the people running that industry right now are hurting kids, fuck those people. We can get them out of there. There are a lot of great artists who are not given their due who can run this shit. Okay? If you're going to be there doing the wrong shit, if you're going to have all the power and say fuck all the responsibility, then fuck you. And if you're going to do nefarious, evil, sinister shit and enjoy it, truly fuck you. Now, if you're doing nefarious, evil, sinister shit because you were threatened, I don't know. Maybe I can feel sorry for you. I don't know. But I do know this. You want to say that Ashton Kutcher, Danny Masterson situation's isolated? Well, then why did around the same time Jim Carrey go on the Jimmy Kimmel Show and basically say, do you know what this symbol is? And basically talking about secret societies and that they're trying to mind control us and that entertainers are there to distract us. He's saying all of these things in a very joking manner. But it's also the simple fact that as we're watching this, we can know, number one, why is Jimmy Kimmel looking nervous when he's laughing? That's fucked up. But number two, when he's saying all these things, yeah, people believe this shit. And he says these things. But that's not the kicker. A year later, Jim Carrey's girlfriend supposedly commits suicide, and then not only that, they try to use that as a catalyst to destroy his career, saying that he was responsible, that he provided her with the medications. And guess what? They couldn't fucking destroy my boy because he is innocent as a motherfucker. Because he was standing up and telling us the truth, and he put everything on the line for it, just like my boy Ashton did. At the end of the day, that's how you know this shit's real. Because if it wasn't real, it would at the very least be joked about at a public level. When we've had the current Pope say that the devil's a real person with dark powers, when he's continually stated throughout his tenure that the devil is real and that it needs to be opposed, I don't know if he's on our side, but I do know this. I know it's fucked up that when you have the Pope saying Voldemort's a real person and nobody's making jokes about that, when this person holds extreme religious and political authority, okay, let's just ignore the crazy schizophrenic in the room then. I mean, they're all going to call us schizophrenics on 4chan, and we should all take our meds, but the Pope is free to just do whatever the fuck he wants, I guess. Go Pope. I thought I was done a few minutes ago, but that shit was just gold. Like, I'm having a blast. I don't know about you, but this is awesome shit. You know, I hope you're doing good out there. I hope you know that if you're struggling, like, you're not failing. You're succeeding. You're learning. That's the secret. They want you to think you're losing, but you're not. You're still here. You're still fighting every day. So you're not struggling. You're fighting. And yeah, fighting's exhausting. Like, if you're a Ninja Turtle, I'm pretty sure that's why when you get back at the end of the day, you just want a pizza, you want to curl up on the couch and watch some fucking TV because you've been kicking ass all day, doing the right thing, protecting good from evil. It's an exhausting job because evil's there and it wants to destroy you. Do you know why it wants to destroy you, my friend? Because you're awesome. Because you are a chosen one. That's why you're watching this video right now. You made it to the end of this video with me. We're Ohana now. That cannot be broken. I'm not going to forget you. You're not going to forget me. And we're not going to abandon each other. And we don't need to communicate physically. You don't need to write to me. I don't need to write to you. You know, at the end of the day, I used to believe like, oh, if I make these videos go viral, that'll be it, man. We'll have won. But this knowledge is already out there. Spreading it, I don't think it's going to do all that fucking much. But I do think doing something that could be perceived as meaningless, but feeling that it is the most meaningful thing I could do, I think that that act of will could do something powerful. Do I have to continue to do these things? No, because there are so many different ways that we can fight. But on the other hand, what if I want to do this? What if this is the way I want to fight? And what if I get to choose when and where I fight? What if I get to sit here and say, oh my fucking goodness, I don't have to prove anything anymore. I don't even have to try anymore. I just gotta do. I just gotta do it. I just gotta do the work. Just gotta do the work. Just gotta do the work. Oh my God, he's so cringy. Why? Because I'm happy and you're not? I think there's people out there who are not happy right now, who would like to know, guess what? I would have felt like a fool for doing that. I wouldn't have even had the energy to do that a week ago. Because when I would do it, I would have felt like a total poser. Like, oh my God, how am I acting this happy if I'm not that happy on the inside? Like, this is just an act. But that's the thing. You fake it till you make it. And once you make it, you're like, oh my God, like, this is cringy, but it's awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, we're superheroes, we're chosen ones, we're Power Rangers, we're Care Bears. Yeah, I went niche there. I could have said we're the Justice League or the Avengers, but fuck it. I like Care Bears and Power Rangers more. Not that I don't like the Justice League or the Avengers, but you give me some Power Ranger video games, some Care Bear video game, man. Some bowls of weed, maybe some Taco Bell, Pizza Hut perhaps. And like, I'll admit, if you're trying to get like a classic, just a great cheese pizza, nah, Pizza Hut ain't that shit. But you want some good toppings? You want some nice pan crust that's just sweet and crispy? Pizza Hut's where it's at. Man, it's just better than sex. Because you have an intimate relationship with your food. It's not about the orgasm. It's about the love that you're getting from one another. It's about the appreciation. It's like anybody could just swallow that shit down and go, man, that pizza, I guess it was okay. But when you're the one who's like, you pan crust goddess, I'm gonna devour you. And it's like, oh my god, do it. I need to be devoured. Can you tell how pleased I am with myself? We all can feel this way. Because I felt like a total loser. And they don't want us to feel this way. They don't want the nerds. The people are like, oh my god, you got vampire teeth. Oh my god, look at your hair. Oh my god, you haven't... Dude, I haven't showered in like, I don't know how fucking long. I don't care. Some people would say that's a sign of mental illness. You know what's not a sign of mental illness? I used to feel like shit. Now I feel good. I'm not sitting here in my stank because I'm like, I just don't care anymore. Fuck my life. I'm sitting here because I'm like, I'm comfortable. Shit, my man stank is good. I mean, we know that we like stank from time to time. There's good stank and bad stank. And you gotta love yourself. If you don't like your own pheromones, man, you should be sitting here going, oh God, I smell better than God's vagina.